So we have with us today a powerhouse person who's just come back from Cannes, and I think is one of the most strongest women in the entertainment industry today.
Now, Amina, now photo call, you've seen like Tom Cruise and
Huh.
all these amazing artists doing those photo calls
Yeah.
every year. When they took Siam's name, when they said from Pakistan,
Huh.
we just like wanted to jump out of our seats
Huh.
and hoot and all of that. So transgender issues, that community. And I feel that Amna right now, globally, the trans community is trying to elevate themselves, and I think that this was a great time for a film like this, and a topic like this came out of Pakistan. If I'm talking about it, if I'm believing that's a certain thing that should be practiced in our society, I cannot go back to being the Mazloom Sisakti Aurat. Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Sarwat Gilani and you are watching Something Hot. Please like, subscribe और देखते रहिए What Happened at Cannes.
So we have with us today a powerhouse person who's just come back from Cannes, and I think is one of the most strongest women in the entertainment industry today. Role भी कुछ उन्होंने ऐसे किए हैं बहुत ही strong किस्म के, और personality भी strong है. Like I said, powerhouse. Assalamu alaikum, Sarwat. How are you?
Walaikum salam.
I caught you straight on the flight back from Cannes.
You did?
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
You did.
And first of all, congratulations. I mean, what a big achievement, and how wonderful must you have felt there?
Absolutely. I think it was a huge honor, and it was really like a dream come true. I think as an actor, one would never imagine that you'll go on such a huge global platform and represent Pakistan. But to get that chance and to do it eventually is so surreal, you know.
So tell us a little bit about it. I mean, we saw you there, and we saw you looking really glamorous on the red carpet, and arriving in Cannes and all of that. But how did it all come around? मतलब कैसे हुआ? Joyland तो release नहीं हुई, किसी ने देखी नहीं.
बिल्कुल. So we shot Joyland in October 2021,
right?
Which is about 7-8 months ago.
Yeah.
And one would expect कि अभी post पे काम हो रहा होगा and stuff. And all of a sudden, it was Siam's birthday, so our co-producer Sana Jaffrey says we're gonna wish Siam a birthday, and we want to do a FaceTime wish for him.
Okay.
So we were like, okay. And at that time, I was, Art House was opening. So I was in Urdu Bazaar buying paints and stationery. And we get online and everybody's wishing him. And he's like, guys, I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, shouldn't it be the other way around? And he tells us that we're going to Cannes. And I was like, wow. And Urdu Bazaar mein main bahut zyada emote bhi nahi kar sak rahi thi. But it was just, it was so unimaginable. And then we all got together, we went to, so our trip really started from Lahore to Islamabad for the visa. And we all got into a van and we traveled there, and we got our visas. The embassy was so delighted.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they were so like, this is a huge honor that Pakistan's embassy is approaching that offer. And we did that. We got our visas. And there we were, reaching Cannes, and everybody reached at their own time. So the last was I, obviously. And we reached there, and the next day was our photo call. Now, Amina, photo call, you've seen like Tom Cruise and, all these amazing artists doing those photo calls every year. And there you are getting ready for a photo call at Cannes. And you're just like, what is happening? Then we arrived there, and they were so pleasant, and they were so like they understood that we are coming for the first time. They gave us our time. They made us comfortable. We were all very we were not jumping out of our skins, really. We were all very contained, and that felt so good. Like we were okay. We understood the ginormousness of
yeah, absolutely.
the platform.
Yeah.
So, but we were all very contained, and that's what I really liked about all
और
of
उस
us.
वक्त तक ये भी नहीं पता था ना कि स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन मिलेगा या इतनी
बिल्कुल।
वेल रिसीव होगी या
बिल्कुल।
अवार्ड मिलेंगे.
Yes.
उस वक्त तक
I
तो कोई
mean,
आइडिया नहीं था.
we were just, over the moon that we are representing or taking our first Pakistani feature film to a place like Cannes. And so we did the photo call. The photographers were amazing. They were hooting, and we're like, okay, this is not so, it's not stuck up. They're all very comfortable. They make you comfortable.
Yeah.
We did the photo call, and Alina was our star, and she got the highlight, and we were most happy for her.
Yeah.
Then Saim, very chilled out, very laid back. So it wasn't like we were trying too hard to, get their attention.
Right.
Just by being ourselves, we were getting the attention.
Right.
So that was really nice.
And I'm getting a feel कि वहाँ पे होने से ही attention मिल जाती है.
Absolutely. And I feel that for the first time, a film coming from Pakistan was a delightful experience even for them, and then we had the red carpet, we had the premiere. The premiere was just so magical. We were telling each other before the movie that, look, nobody's supposed to cry, okay? Because the end is very emotional.
It is, right.
And also because we had, sort of felt that for a month while we were shooting. It felt real. It felt our story. We felt like it was, each one of us felt like it was our story and it was a real story. But by the end, so Sano was sitting next to me, Sania Saeed, and Rasti is sitting on the other side. And so Sania ka ek scene aata hai, hum Sania ke haath pakad rahe hain ki roiyega nahi. Rasti ka scene aata hai, main Rasti ke haath, mera scene aata hai, ye dono mere haath. And when we got up and the lights came on, I realized it was uncontrollable.
Yeah.
We were all crying. वो खुशी के भी आंसू थे, वो गम के भी आंसू थे. It was a mix sort of lava of emotions that everybody felt. And then to get the standing ovation.
Yeah.
I mean, in our category, un certain regard, nobody got that long of a standing ovation. Like it was a 8-10 minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
And it was just like out of the movies.
Out of the movies,
it felt unreal.
It must have been overwhelming.
It was, and I feel that, we work so hard and in circumstances and conditions which are not very perfect here in Pakistan. So it was like everybody's appreciating and acknowledging that, what we go through as artists.
Right.
And for the first time, like the world is acknowledging that. And they are, praising you for all the hard work.
Right, right.
Saim is just unbelievable. It was my first time working with him.
Yeah.
And he has lived with this script for 7 years.
Really?
And, or perhaps even more. And I felt like he totally deserved this. And then we had the awards for our category. And they called us. So I was trying to ask my producer, I'm like, Apurva, please tell us, are we winning something or should we dress up in a certain way? She's like, no, just, they just want Saim there because Saim was really ill by then.
Right.
He had so many interviews, he was overworked, underslept. And then because Cannes itself is so overwhelming.
Right.
So we had our producers who were unbelievable producers from abroad, from LA, who were throwing us dinners and, just celebrating us every night. So he was totally overworked. So when she said maybe, because they're really asking for Saim. They're saying even if he can come for 10-15 minutes. Ajay. He has to be there. So there's something fishy. And that was just like, oh my God,
Amazing.
And then they had us sit right in front, which was a very, like a big deal for us to and we were about like 24 plus people.
Right.
We had our stylist, we had our choreographers, we had our, assistant directors, we had our cinematographer from Lebanon, Joe, who did a fantastic job. And we were all there. And so the first award went out, the second award, so they start backwards. And so Alina is like looking down. She's like, "Ek chali gayi movie, dusri chali gayi. Hum kab aayenge?" And I'm like, "Wait for it." And then they announced the jury prize.
Yeah.
So it was the favorite of the jury.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
Amazing.
I mean,
It's amazing.
as it is, a Cannes Film Festival is a very
Absolutely.
artistic, independent cinema encouraging platform.
Yeah.
And then in that, you have these amazing juries from all around the world, jury members. And then they liked your work and they appreciated your work. So when they took Saim's name, when they said from Pakistan, we just like wanted to jump out of our seats and hoot and, you know, all of that. So it was just wonderful. Even at the premiere, we had the standing ovation. At the award ceremony, when they took Joyland's name, people were just not stopping. You know, they just kept on clapping.
Amazing.
And to get that kind of reception felt like we've done justice to a story.
I mean, I'm getting that feeling of elation, you know,
Yes.
complete, absolute.
Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. Sarwat, we haven't seen the film, and although we've tried to get a private sort of a link to it, लेकिन I believe कि कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि it's going to play in theatres in Pakistan as well, after a couple of cuts maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you play the character Nuchi.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your character.
So I'll tell you a little bit about the film.
Yeah.
It's a film set in a small house in Lahore, Gawal Mandi. So we were, you know, kidding like Gawal Mandi se Cannes tak ka safar. You know, very interesting. And I think Saim wanted to talk about those issues we generally don't see in films. You know, films are normally very sugar-coated or commercial and sanitized, you know. So I felt like it talks about patriarchal society. It talks about the pressures on a woman to give birth to a male child in the family, the pressure of a girl who's Rasti, she wants to work, and how it sort of fringes between how she has to stay home and take care of the family. So how difficult it is for a girl to work in a Pakistani family after getting married.
Right.
And I think that goes in any strata, really,
Absolutely.
not just the lower or middle class stratas. So that, and how if you don't have a job, Ali doesn't have a job initially, and how he's treated in the house because he's the younger son and the older son is the earning one.
Right.
So, you know, so those dynamics were beautiful. I am the older son's wife.
Right.
And Ali mostly works in the kitchen with me.
Right.
Because I'm at home, I have 4 girls, I'm pregnant with the fifth time,
Right.
and I'm expecting, the doctor has said I'm having a baby boy.
And do you have baby boys
No.
before that? This is the first baby
No,
boy.
so
Right.
this is the first, and then I eventually have a baby girl.
Oh, okay.
So the pressure, you know, and that thing that, you know, I was expected to finally deliver a baby boy and it didn't happen. And how the dynamic of her and Mumtaz, played by Rasti, how they play out. I mean, it's not very typical, you know, that there is competition, but there's also sisterhood.
Right.
And it's very natural and it's very truthful and it's very honest, those feelings. And how I see their relationship working out. There's friction, there's love, there's sort of accommodation to each other's priorities. Also what happens later when Ali gets a job and how he meets Alina. So all of that, and just you know, Sania Saeed is our neighbor, and you know those nosy neighbors, कि घर पे क्या हो रहा है, and Salman Pirzada is playing the father of the house,
Right.
and just working with Salman Pirzada was just so delightful,
yeah.
and he's so knowledgeable, and there's so much that he brings to the table, you know, without even saying much.
Right.
And Suhail Sameer is playing my husband. And lots of these beautiful
Another
kids.
fantastic actor.
Another fantastic actor. So I think it was a real big powerhouse of great actors.
Yeah.
Ali, Rasti and Alina were just out of this world. I was inspired at times. You know, there were scenes where the entire day was one scene and it was a very emotional, dark scene. And I would come on the set because I'm just, you know, I do my homework at home. I don't want to bring my homework to the set. I want to bring it in front of the screen. So I would come all chirpy, and I see these two people totally depressed, cornered, and in their zone. And I'd be like, oh my God, I think I need to pick up my game and be in that state of mind. But that doesn't work for me. And I think Saim really liked that also. He said, you would be so normal and nonchalant, and the minute I'd say cue, you would give me things which I saw on edit. And at that time I was like, okay, theek hai, kar liya, I think ho gaya. But he's like, on the edit, you're something else. So I enjoyed that bit also. So I think overall, it's a story that everybody can relate to, whether you come from a high class house or a lower middle class or middle class house. You understand every problem that we go through. There were a lot of shades of white, black, and gray. And at the end of the day, you understand that they're human. They may have difficulty in showing that they care, but at the end of the day, they are real human beings. They're not just characterized in this fantasy world. They are around us. These characters are around us.
Absolutely.
So very relatable.
Very relatable.
Very, it pulls a string in the heart when Sania's scenes are beautiful.
What do you think clicked with the international audience? Because एक बहुत बड़ा आता है on Sharmeen's work as well, which is, I think, very unfair. But people do say, and this criticism does arise over and over again, that, whenever you make a film or a story on the underbelly of Pakistani society, or when you're picking up issues that are show Pakistan in a negative light, and those are the ones that are picked up internationally, whether it's, one of Sharmeen's stories or even Darling, Saim's first film. So about the transgender problems or problems with sexuality, whatever. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's truth to that, or?
I mean, I just feel that when we saw all the rest of the films, they do talk about their truth. So every truth cannot be shiny and glittery, right? Those truths are coming from different countries, what they face. It may be sexuality in some. It may be hardship of a relationship in some, and how men are treated in a society, how women are treated in a society. Our film was about trans, this trans girl, and what are the difficulties that she feels and goes through.
How is this household affiliated with her?
So she's not affiliated with the house. She's not. Ali meets her in the workplace setting.
Right.
And that's how she's sort of indirectly affiliated to the family.
Right.
Our film does talk about transgender issues, that community. And I feel that, Amna, right now, globally, the trans community is trying to elevate themselves, whether that's in professional or personal circumstances. And I think that this was a great time for a film like this, and a topic like this came out of Pakistan, because as we see, Pakistan is going through a lot of, there are discriminations, and then there are values given to them. They have an identity card now. They are, in big professions like doctors and lawyers
yes.
and M&As.
M&As, absolutely.
So it's very important to highlight that, that look, Pakistan is bringing a story, but this is what Pakistan is doing. We are considered to be closed-minded, but in reality, we are not. We are trying to pick up that community along with the rest of our mainstream community. So I felt this is what clicked to the global audience and to the jury who picked this film up.
It was just relevant on a global scale.
On a global scale.
And it came across as a sincere story.
Yes.
Very, very honest storytelling.
Yes. Because it didn't feel like we were trying to cook up a story. It felt like we are trying to tell a real life story. And I think honesty and reality is what Cannes is looking for. They're looking for true examples. They're looking for truth coming from different countries. And the kind of on the awards night we got to see bits of everybody's film, and oh my God, I have goosebumps every time because it's about war.
Yeah.
From some countries, it's about the circumstances that war has left people in, and those are real issues.
Yeah.
And those are real life problems
Yeah.
that people go through for the entire life.
Yeah.
There are issues of gender biased stories coming from different another country. So yeah, I felt like what clicked with the jury was that it was a relevant global subject.
Global subject,
for
absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. You do pick up a lot of difficult subjects in your dramas, and of course, I'm going to go back to Churales. And I'm going to go back to Qatil Haseen Aapke Naam. Again, powerful women. You have a knack of picking up roles that portray very powerful women. And that must be a reflection, that is a reflection of you yourself as well. Television, बहुत सालों से जिस तरह हम देखना चाहते थे, हमने नहीं देखा आपको. Is that a conscious effort? वो roles नहीं मिल रहे? Have you distanced yourself? Because television पे एक खास किस्म की औरत दिखाई जाती है. और आखिरी 2 जो प्रोजेक्ट थे आपके बहुत बड़े, वो दोनों डिजिटल के लिए थे. And of course, great directors and great producers, or really groundbreaking content, मैं तो कहूँगी दोनों का ही. But television से ज़रा सी दूरी खुद से हुई है, आपने सोचा कि मैंने करनी है, because you've done some really, really strong characters on television as well.
Yes.
I mean, Sita Bagri being one of the top ones that you can think of.
Yeah.
But किए हैं आपने, but अब क्यों नहीं? Why don't we see Sarwat Gilani on television as frequently as we should?
I'll tell you, Amna, with time, I got into speaking up on women's rights, against child abuse, against so many serious real life topics that I felt that I need to, if I'm talking about it, if I'm believing that's a certain thing that should be practiced in our society, I cannot go back to being the Mazloom Sisakti Aurat because I just don't believe in that. I believe women are unbelievable in Pakistan, and there are such great examples of women that we need to tell those stories, those success stories, and not like have a premise of an entire season or a serial of 26 episodes, whether the girl is good enough to be married to this guy and whether she's good enough to be accepted by the in-laws. Life is way beyond all of those things.
For women especially.
For women. And women are really breaking boundaries to get out of that stereotype. And I felt like television was holding me back in that regard. I did television for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did play the Mazloom Sisakti Aurat.
You did.
But I felt like enough of that, and unfortunately, I mean, I did Khasara. That was my last television thing. And in Khasara, I played a very strong woman. And that is the kind of substance that I want to portray, that women are strong, women are great examples as leaders. But that doesn't happen every day. Those kind of scripts don't come, especially my way, because I have a lot of reservations and other reservations, like, there are different types of, there's different kinds of ways to show love. I will not get physical. I will keep a distance, because my ideal romantic dramas were Tanhaiyan and Dhoop Kinare, and we didn't need all of this, to show beautiful, unbelievable romance and class at the same time. So I was feeling like, I'm really putting myself in a box, and that box is not going to be tapped, because that's not the criteria of the Pakistani television right now. And that's okay, because I've had my time, and I want to progress and not regress. I want the youth to see unbelievable examples of women doing unbelievable work. And why are we... So initially, when a lot of stuff, when I was distancing myself, a lot of people would call me and give me an offer. And initially, I would say, मेरे पास dates नहीं है, just कि like यार मैं क्या इनको बोलूँ. But then I thought that they need to understand what we want to show as even artists, what we want to represent. So I would have like hour-long conversations with these directors and
God.
writers.
Sounds tedious.
Tedious, right? And they would, at the end of the day, they're like, अच्छा but बताएं आप कर रही हैं या नहीं कर रही?
बस ये बताएं, bottom line क्या है?
And I'd be like, no man, I can't. I have to put my foot down for myself. I mean, if I'm not convinced that this girl is Mazloom and this is how her life is and it's miserable, and then how will I convince my audience? Because in my life right now, I'm not miserable, and I don't want to represent miserable. I want to represent powerhouses. I want to represent real life heroes, unsung heroes, survivors, right? So I felt like mera mission was not tallying with a lot of drama missions and their taglines and their concepts. So I got into public speaking, and I felt like I needed to motivate young girls. And then I got into Special Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
because what a great cause that is.
Yeah, and I felt, Amina, that I felt that I have so many eyes and ears, and they must see the better side of things that need attention. You know, so I got into SOP and I made a song for them. We didn't have a national anthem. When I got on board as an ambassador, I would research. So Canada has a national anthem. US has a national anthem. And I Googled Pakistan national anthem for special people.
Nahin tha.
Nothing. So Faisal Kapadia is sort of relative to is a relative to Ronak Lakhani. So I roped him in and I said, who better than you both, Bilal and Faisal? And so Bilal said, who's going to write this song? I said, who better than Anwar Saab, right? So that's how we started, and I got Umar and Beenish on board. We made that song. I know how I collected that that money, those 20 lakh rupees, and how difficult it is to collect money for special needs people.
We know how hard you've been trying to collect money for SOP, and
it's unbelievable. I would have never imagined that people give, which is great. People have this beautiful heart in Pakistan, and especially our people, Pakistani people who are living abroad. They would, in a split second, give money for healthcare and education. But it's unfortunate they don't think that special needs is a needful thing that they need to do. So that, and I really got into it, and I felt like that's where I'm getting soul from. That's where I'm getting, you know, life from. And I just, and there was no looking back, and I was so involved with SOP, and then I got into Indus Hospital, and I saw more of life and what needed to change on that platform. So I think, you know, playing the Mazloom Sisakti Aurat did not work for me because I was doing real life.
And you could do more constructive work here as opposed to television. जहाँ पे चीजें बदल नहीं रही वैसे.
नहीं रही.
कभी-कभी बदलती हैं लेकिन बहुत कम. Very rarely. Very rarely.
And then Churels came up.
And then Churels came up. Absolutely.
Then, and so Asim, I got acquainted with Asim when they were doing Cake. And I was meant to do Cake, and I did my audition, and it went through, and then I got pregnant with my second baby. And Asim was just like devastated because 4 months down we had to start shooting. And, you know, his main lead says, I can't do it. So they came, they did a dress trial. I said, you know, it's not happening. By the time we start shooting, it'll be quite obvious.
I mean, as petite as you are,
as
you are
petite
going
as
to show.
I am, yes. So, and then he's like, what do I do? I said, just give me one phone call. Okay, I need to make one phone call. And just, you know, I know that this is going to work out. So I called Amna Sheikh. And I'm like, Amo, this is a page turner script. Just give it a read. And she did, and she liked it, and she said yes.
Fantastic.
And you know, she turned around and she said, you know, Sarwat, history repeats itself because the same thing happened to her when she was doing Mehreen Jabbar's film. She got pregnant with Misa, and the role was given to Harim.
Harim, dobara phir se.
Dobara phir se. And she said, this is unbelievable
I
because
love
the
the
same,
sisterhood. Yeah.
and it's happening to me.
Huh.
And I kid you not, Amna, I used to talk to our industry people, and I was talking to Vase when we were doing JPNA, and I said, Vase, when are we ever going to do artistic film and independent cinema? When is that going to come up? Because that's my cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, this commercial thing is okay, but
Huh.
just, you know, it
But
doesn't...
listen, Gul was very entertaining. What are you saying?
She was, she was,
और
she
कितने
was.
लोगों ने कितने morning shows पे आपसे वो
हाँ,
dialogue
बहुत.
बनवाए,
I
but
think like people have stopped me in the market and be like, एक दफा
एक
आप
दफा
वो
कह
बोल
दें,
दे,
हाँ.
एक दफा वो बोल दे.
हाँ.
It was amazing, and at that time I felt like that was a great thing, but I missed independent cinema in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So I remember Vase saying, "Abhi to bahut time lagega," and here comes Jurels, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Who is this person wanting to make a web series like that?
Yeah.
And Cake was very similar.
Yes.
But to give, I had to literally put my heart out there for Amna and Asim to take it away in front of me. And I literally was like, oh my God, this is something I was waiting for all my career. And I had to give it away. But then God rewarded me with Churels.
Yes.
And Churels was just like this honest script.
Mind-blowing, yeah.
And I was like, wow, who is this person?
Yeah.
And how does he, like, how does one get so many guts to make a story
to make
like that?
story, and your character is very posh and elite.
Yeah.
But right, फिर भी on the right line
On the
of
right
side
track,
of, yeah,
bilkul.
absolutely.
Bilkul. And to have 4 vigilante women
Four
creating
absolutely
this,
kick-ass women.
you know, secret agency to catch cheating husbands. Like, really? Are you in Pakistan?
Yeah.
So to do that was just so empowering.
Yeah.
And I think during that process, we got really close, and we felt like sisterhood really does need to exist. And so we got a lot of offers after Churel aired that why don't you make this real agency? You know, we really need it.
God.
I said,
ठीक
well,
है,
okay,
ठीक है.
it's a good proposal. We won't die hungry. Eventually, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
So Trails ke baad Qatils came along.
Qatils came along, and Aminu and Farjad I was always inspired by. I saw their Zinda Bhag, and I was like, man, these are
beautiful,
the people.
but so dark.
Yeah.
So
but
dark,
like,
yeah.
so like,
so gritty,
you know,
absolutely delightful.
you cringe,
totally,
you know,
totally,
while watching it, and you're like, wow, a part of your heart is like beating and palpitations, really. So when Meenu spoke to me, I was like, wow, I'm actually doing work with people who have inspired me. And I loved it. To play Mehak, there was just one line given to me, and I think I just stuck with it. And it was she's a hopeless romantic. And that in itself was a complete story, a complete lifeline.
Are you
for
a
me.
hopeless romantic?
At times, yes.
At times. Yeah. I like your honesty.
Yes, absolutely. I am hopeless and romantic. Hopelessly romantic, rather. So I thought that that is the kind of work that I've been wanting to do. Like, you know, for an actor, it's a unicorn that we're looking for all our lives. And we're doing what we're getting, but it's not, it doesn't, you know, gut से कुछ नहीं हो रहा. So gut को आपको खुश रखना है. And even between Churels and Qatil, I did Yaar Julahe with Sarwat. And that was my first time with Sarwat. Do you know, every time I would meet Sarwat in like different elevators or parties or something, I would go up to him and I'd say, I love your work. And I would die to do something with you.
work देखा था आपने उस वक्त तक? What work did you love?
I had seen his theatre performances with Nimra, and I would just die every time. You know, I would be like, who are these people and why am I not working with them? And they both together, they're like fire. So I would, you know, very nonchalantly go up to him and be like, you know, I'd love to work with you. And when Yaar Julahe came about, I did, so Yaar Julahe was theatrical performances that were recorded on camera. And I did 2 stories. And there were these amazing artists who were doing stories. Sania, Nimra, Faisal Qureshi, Sarmad, his father, and other people. Fawad Khan, the other one, the theatre Fawad Khan. We call him our Fawad Khan. He was the Churel Fawad Khan.
Yeah, the Churel Fawad Khan.
So him. And in that, I did 2 stories. And I'm playing 3 characters in one story, and 7 characters in another story. Amna, that for me was a life, like it was a transformation that I went through, because as an actor, never had I ever, was I ever required to speak 3 different accents
Yeah.
in one go.
Yeah.
And it was like this, I exploded as an artist.
Oh, and you started acting on theatre, hai na?
I
Too,
did.
by the- yeah.
I did theatre. I didn't do a lot of it. But whenever I did, like in school or
Yeah.
on the main platforms, it was
Amazing.
It was amazing.
So there is a true artist inside you, of course, and
There
you know
is.
you like to paint as well,
Yes.
and you know you've been to Indus Valley School as well, and but I find you to be very sort of very balanced and very sublime about it all. There's no anxiety कि मुझे ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है.
Yeah.
So चीजें बहुत अच्छे अंदाज से बड़े fluid तरीके से हो रही हैं आपकी लाइफ में.
You know-
So is that you? Where does that calm come from?
The calm comes from my grandfather.
Okay. Okay.
I don't talk about him much. But I've recently been told by this friend of ours that, you know, you need to own it. So he was a Nawab from India,
yes.
and he came to Pakistan after the partition. And Amna, I cannot tell you the calmness, like he left everything in India. He had, you know, he had 2 states, Sattar Gaon and all of that, like a महल and वो शेर के ऊपर और एम्बलम के साथ वो सारी मैंने growing up अपने dining room में चीजें देखी हैं. And those etiquettes and the mannerism, those values were given to me then. I think people are recognizing and, you know, seeing those now.
Yeah.
And I never saw him frown, ever, no matter how good or bad things were. And he was just so proper, you know, 5 o'clock tea time, 8 a.m. nashta, long dining table with all the khandan sitting, like very, you know, very simple. I lived in a small house near Kashmir, near Qaid-e-Azam ki Mazar. I grew up with those old, you know, mosaic tiled and those jharoke. So I'm very old school like that because of what I've seen.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a certain requirement of, you know, a lady in that house. And the competition was always meant to be with yourself and not the next person sitting next to you. So I felt that I've really taken that up, and the competition is not with anybody else. So I'm in no rat race. I think that my race is with myself, and I call myself the kachua, the tortoise. Because I know slow and steady, I'll get there. The fastest place to reach somewhere is to do it slowly.
Yeah.
And the top of one mountain is the bottom of another. So who are we kidding? You know, no matter what I achieve, there's so much more to achieve.
To do.
out
So what's
there.
on your bucket list now?
Churels too.
Is that a reveal?
I don't know. Asim, please don't kill me. But yeah, I think right now it's Churels too. And right now my baby is Art House.
Absolutely. It's a new project you started.
It is. It's a baby that I've been conceiving, as you can say, during COVID times. And I did a lot of arts and crafts with my kids.
Yes, we saw.
And the kind of feedback that I got, Amna, was I felt like, wow, there's such a dearth for creative stuff for
Those
younger
videos
kids.
were adorable, and they were so
were.
real. And your sons, your kids, mashallah, are really cute as
They
well.
were not edited at all.
I could see that.
There were times when they would say bad language, and I'd have to explain to them, and people will be like, wow, you have so much patience.
Yeah.
So how does that happen after the camera goes off? Do you beat them up or something? I'm like, no.
No, but real
This is how we
resonates with
talk.
people, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So Art House came about because I'm a very hands-on mother. I think another reason for me to do less of television acting was also because it required months on long shootings, hours, and I had to be there for my children because this is their time. The first 8
Absolutely.
years is where
Absolutely.
I, you know, manufacture them really.
Bilkul.
So, you know, so it's easier for me for the rest of my life and their lives. So I felt like art, I was always running around like from literally pillar to post, horse riding ke liye udhar bhag rahe hain, tennis ke liye udhar bhag rahe hain, football ke liye udhar bhag rahe hain. And I felt like there needs to be some sanity to a mother's life. And I felt like I needed to create a space where there are so many avenues to a child's creative, solutions.
Yeah.
So Art House came about, and I was looking for a space for 3 years. I was trying to cook, what should we do? So Art House has arts and crafts, and because I'm an art student, there's history of design and history of art. So your 3-year-old will know who Picasso was and what are the 3 famous paintings, and your 4-year-old will know what's pattern and what's texture.
So is it like a summer school? Is it like an extracurricular?
No, it's an extracurricular. It's a creative space after school.
After school space.
So it's an all year round.
And for children, what age?
3 to 10.
Cute.
We start young.
But it's needed, right? Because when you live abroad, your children are going to museums and they are going to these creative spaces.
They have so much exposure.
Yeah, nahi hai.
We don't. So we talk about Van Gogh and we talk about decorative art and functional art. It's so cute. So I get these parents who come and tell me that, oh, did you know he's telling me, the mother is saying, he's telling me that you're wearing a pattern and this is not a texture. And I'll show you what is texture. And I'm like, wow, achieved. I've achieved my goal.
Yeah.
And to make them be like, we can cook, we can bake. We're not kids. They need to be independent.
Yeah.
We talk about body boundaries in yoga and mindfulness because a lot of times parents shy away from that talk. We talk about circle of truth. We talk about, let's talk about secrets.
Amazing.
So predators, generally say that's our secret.
Yeah.
So we start really young where they're aware of what is safe touch and unsafe touch. Who is stranger and why is he danger? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think whatever I felt like I needed to give to my children, it needed to go to a broader spectrum.
Right.
I needed to give that out to more children.
Right.
And those are all my children.
Right.
And they all come and hug me. And they were missing me. So I came back and they had a bouquet and a cake.
How sweet.
And it was so adorable.
How sweet. So your own kids and of course Art House children all figure very prominently in your life, even in your social media life. And we see a lot of them. We also see a lot of your husband.
Yeah.
And, Fahad is always by your side and great pictures coming from Cannes as well. And, he's done a bit of acting as well.
Yeah.
He's a cosmetic surgeon.
Yes.
And we all wonder how beneficial is it to have a husband as a cosmetic surgeon?
Guess who's not getting old, Amna? Guess who's going to stay? This Kachua is going to be like 300 years old and not get a ring.
So we need to know today, how helpful is it to have, is it like adversity hai ya ye benefit hai? Ye kya hai?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am severely paranoid when it comes to syringes, needles, and it takes me about 15 minutes for the blood bank at Khan. Those people know me. They're like, you rest, you wait, we'll give you a juice, all that. But yes, there are times like because of all the Sati Savitri roles that I did, and I would always be crying, and my khanan would be like, stop crying on television. So I got this big line here, because I would always be doing this. And now I don't. I wonder why. So that is one thing. Fahad, what I love about him, and that's not because he's my husband, is because 80% of the people he sends back saying, you don't need it.
Right.
So that's how his understanding of surgery and the requirement for aesthetics is.
Right.
Because he believes that if it's not needed, don't fiddle with it.
Don't fiddle with it.
I had my nose surgery done long time ago because I used to black out in my college days and stuff. And one day I blacked out and I hit my head, like nose, on the edge of a sink at my house, and I was alone. And
Sounds painful.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because it didn't feel pain.
Blacked out,
I blacked out, and when I woke up, I was so disoriented, like, where am I? And it was blue tiles, and I'm like, where the hell am I? And I wake up, it's my bathroom, and I'm like, it's all blood. And I called my mother, and they had to break down the door because it was always locked. And I was taken to my favorite doctor, Dr. Tahir Shafi. I love him. I adore him. He's an unbelievable person and a great surgeon. And he was actually helping my sister with something which she was going through physically. And they rushed me there, And my sister, you will not believe it, every time she'd be like, why don't you go to Tahir and get your nose sorted? And I'm like, yaar, ab 10 saal guzar gaye hain, har kisi ne meri naak dekh li hai, main isi naak ke saath acting karti hu. It's okay.
It's okay.
So she told the doctor, this is the best time to
Just
get
do
a
it.
nip and tuck, because she doesn't agree to it, just do it.
Yeah.
So when
And he did it?
He did it.
How old were you?
I was old enough. I was like 23, 24.
Huh.
And then when I got my brace out, there was a lot of swelling, so I couldn't tell. But I was just really happy that, the nose that had broken, he could fix it and not a lot had to be changed.
Huh.
And then slowly and gradually, and I'm like, yaar, ye to bahut amazing ho rahi hai meri naak. So my father says, I'm kind of happy that you fell on your face.
Oh my God.
And then when we went to the doctor, he said, yes, your sister said that
Kind
I
of
will
took
take
over,
full
huh,
responsibility. And that was my major surgery. And I came back, and then it was great. And so that is one thing. I keep telling Fahad, maybe a little here, and maybe he's like, no, I'm not touching it. But anyway, in my gene, like in my family, they all look petite and they all look like babies. So I'm lucky that I have that. Also, I feel that aging gracefully is so unbelievable.
Yeah.
I see Kate Moss and these, I saw, oh my God, I saw some amazing women with lots of freckles and still looking unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I feel that you do it gracefully, you do it when it's required. You don't go over the top. I was telling Fahad the other day, I was like, you should feel lucky that I'm not into all of this. Otherwise, आधे पैसे तो तुम्हारे मेरे ऊपर खत्म हो जाते,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not too keen to get a lot of stuff done.
Because a lot of actresses on television now, they've gotten so much done that they've lost expression completely.
There's hardly ever room to emote now.
Yeah, there's no room to emote.
Yeah. I don't think, like, as an actor, I feel that you should leave some room. ठीक है, आपकी अपने complexes होते हैं, आप उनको fix करा लें, but don't go over and beyond. It
So
loses
post 35, post 40,
Yeah.
what would you recommend? I mean, क्या कराना चाहिए, क्या कराना हर्ज नहीं है?
Wow.
Expert advice from Sarwat.
Expert advice. Fahad's going to be like, तुम गलत बातें कर रही हो.
मुझे पूछना चाहिए.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it really depends. I think a lot of people get thread lifts because their face kind of droops down, thanks to gravity.
Yeah.
A lot of, just nip and tucks here, maybe. But if you don't need it, you really shouldn't. I feel.
Yeah.
Not for just because Samina got it done. Not because Naila looks great.
Probably everybody's getting lip fillers, which you haven't.
Yes.
No.
I think that was one of the comments that one of our senior actresses said after watching JPNA. She's like, एक तो इतनी बड़ी screen, और फिर उस पे सारी heroines के इतने बड़े lips. सिर्फ तुम ही थी जिनके नहीं थे. And I was like, yeah. I just feel that natural is great.
Natural is great.
Unless something goes wrong.
No, if something is bothering you, fix it for sure. For sure.
A lot of people come to Fahad and say that, their marriage is falling apart because the husband keeps saying, like, तुम ऐसी हो, तुम्हारी नाक ऐसी है.
Would you say that वो marriage fall apart हो जाए तो बेहतर है फिर कि नहीं फिर करा ले बंदा? I mean.
हाँ, मतलब either or.
Either or, right?
If you want to stay in that marriage and you think that mentality is going to change after you change your nose,
it'll be something
it's
else
not
then.
going to,
No,
right?
No.
So there will always be something that has to change. It's never enough.
Exactly.
But how far can you go with never enough?
And how much can you change?
You eventually end up looking like a bad version of Angelina Jolie because the husband wanted that. And he never got Angelina Jolie.
In his fantasy, he was sad reality.
Yes.
But optics are important.
Yes.
Optics are important, and I'm going to come full circle with this and go back to Joyland.
Yes.
Optics are important. The red carpet got a bit of flag from the public, right? And people were not too happy with red carpet choices.
Oh, of me or everybody
the entire entourage. And, although I felt, and we even said this, that your choices were very elegant, but do you think a little more could have done? What is the process of putting a wardrobe together for a festival as big as Cannes?
I'll tell you. So generally what happens is when an announcement is made as big as we're going to Cannes, a lot of designers approach, or a lot of designers are approached by the team. Unfortunately, here in Pakistan, when designers were approached, they were like, okay, fine, there's a wardrobe that we have. You can pick and choose from there. Apart from a few designers who opted to make something new
Right.
For this thing. Now that I think Pakistan is aware of what Cannes is, the next time a team
it won't be a
goes,
problem.
it will not be so problematic.
Right.
But I felt like everybody was trying to get whatever they could on a personal level. Because obviously it was a film that was the post production of, I mean, we just didn't know that कान में जाना है और उसके लिए अच्छे कपड़े भी चाहिए होंगे और महंगे कपड़े और बड़े डिजाइनर्स से कौन बात करे,
वहाँ पे कितनी मिलेगी पब्लिसिटी
मिलेगी,
कैमरा टाइम मिलेगा,
बिल्कुल. So I felt like a lot of our actors could just pull on their personal strings with whoever designers they knew.
Right.
It wasn't done as a team, but it was done on a very individual
level. Because it
level.
lacked cohesion for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had decided that we're all going to wear Pakistani designers because we wanted to promote Pakistani designers.
Right.
But at the same time, we were not on the same page as there needs to be color or there needs to be a certain attire that we're following.
Right.
So yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why it looked, we were all very different, yet Pakistani, but not cohesive.
Yeah.
It also, I felt like a lot of people loved the fact that it was Pakistani, and you didn't see Sania Saeed in a gown, and you didn't see Sarwat Gilani in a gown, and Rasti in a gown, but it felt like it could have been better.
Yeah.
I feel like this was just a foot in the door.
Absolutely.
And the next time something like this happens, I really hope that our big names that cater to global market can come forth and be more responsive.
But you wore some of the big names. You wore Elan and, lovely outfits.
Yes.
And there was, I think, a Mohsin Naveed Ranja as well.
I wore Elan. I wore Rizwan Beg.
Yes, you wore the white Rizwan Beg, which was also lovely.
Yes, I wore Elan's sari. I wore Elan on the red carpet.
Yes.
I wore Mohsin Saeed in one of my Reuters interview.
Right.
I wore Omar Saeed in one of my interviews.
Right.
So because I know all these people, they're like almost friends.
Right.
But the rest, I think they didn't have
tough,
that circle.
Yeah. So there should be basically
one
stylist, maybe coordinating for everybody.
Yes.
So there's cohesion as well.
Yes. Also, this was the first production, so they weren't very sure how much money a stylist would take because all our money had finished, right, on grading and all the right things for the film.
Yeah.
But I think this is always a learning, there's always a learning experience.
Yeah, but designers need to understand. Next time people are going to Cannes, please don't charge them for just make something nice.
Make something nice for them and be a little more aggressive with your approach. Ke, yaar, I will do it.
Absolutely.
So now that I'm back, a lot of my friends who are other designers,
I say, हमसे क्यों नहीं लिया?
हमसे क्यों नहीं लिया? तो उसका यही जवाब है कि यार ये पोस्ट तो मैंने डाली थी कि मैं कांस पे जा रही हूँ. अब अगर आप, it didn't happen. Because
proactive हो जाते हैं.
Yeah, because the actor themselves are so busy with other things that it's difficult to coordinate with designers and not everybody has.
And it's not just an outfit; it's also the shoes and the jewelry and the look. It's the look completely.
Everything.
Yeah,
I'm lucky to have a good PR who is managing all that.
Absolutely, and it
should. Yes, I think
not everybody is there.
Yeah, because it's a huge thing. You're representing Pakistan. You need to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you have represented Pakistan very well, Sarwat. I think in Joyland, yes, but also in your digital work and in Churails and Katils. And I think even a couple of dramas that you did, not always the Roti Dhoti.
Yeah.
Not always the Roti Dhoti Aurat, but beyond that, the social work that you're doing is amazing. It's amazing. And I love that you're so settled with the fact that there's no rush and no anxiety to do it all.
Yeah.
And, there's this calm and that's quite amazing.
Thank you.
But I hope that you will return to television because I think TV does also need role models and strong women like yourself. Is there something in the works?
No, there isn't. But yes, I mean, my team keeps telling me that you need to, because people did love my work on television.
Absolutely.
I did it in a certain way. They liked how I represented whatever character that I did. But yes, if something substantial comes, Amna, I will. It also, I'm just so used to being, everything's done on time on digital. It's been 7 years that I've done digital now, and
Yeah.
everything is so professional. Everybody's focused on one thing. There are no tantrums. Nobody's coming late. Nobody's the star on the set. The story
Yeah.
is the star.
Yeah.
The content is the star. And I think if I find a team on television like that, do you know what I mean?
I do.
I will be there.
I do.
But I don't see it right now. I don't see. I feel it needs to progress, and year by year, I feel it's going down. There are more tantrums being okay. It's okay to arrive 3 hours late for a heroine, while it's not.
It's not.
It's
not.
and it's you don't become a celebrity and a star just because you're being rude to the camera person or being nasty to the makeup person. That's what I learned with my other work, my international work, and even before that, I mean, I would always be the first person to arrive on time. And sometimes, when it would be an early call time, I had to wake people up on the set that, hey, it's time to work.
And did things happen on time in Cannes?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Like
On the dot?
on the dot. And a lot of our Cannes team was very impressed.
Yeah.
Because these are theatre people. These are real people who know how
important timing is.
and how important labor is. Everybody's out there to make money and gain respect. And if you don't respect anybody else's time, then why should they respect you?
Yeah.
So I think it's a give and take. Everybody's a star on set. And everybody's out there to, make a name.
Yeah.
So I think that mentality needs to come back. And that was there in good days of,
It was. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
Like everybody was on the same page.
Yeah.
Nobody was and now it's just so easy to become a star and think that you're a star because you have achieved 2 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Pehle it was the work that you're giving. Your craft is the star. And if you, जितना आप गुड़ डाल रहे हैं, उतना ही मीठा हो रहा है. अब जितने आप पैसे डाल रहे हैं, उतने followers आ रहे हैं. So they will obviously not understand the value that's required for this craft.
Right.
So I feel if a team is that and everybody's on the same page, I'm back on television.
Absolutely. I think your grandfather has passed on good genes.
Oh, absolutely.
All credit to the grandfather.
Yes.
Sarwat, thank you so much for taking our time. I know that you were spending time with your kids ever since you came back, and there's a lot to be done. And you're going to be very busy up ahead as well.
Yes.
But thank you for your time. It was lovely talking to you. मुझे लगा ही नहीं कि मैंने कुछ पूछा है. I didn't have to ask you anything actually. It just rolled out.
Amna, it's always so nice seeing you and the kind of content that you make and churn out.
Thank you.
It's so important, that it's unbiased and it's real.
Yeah.
And I feel we need more stuff like that. We need more real people taking our interviews too, because a lot of times those intelligent questions don't come across. And
I
you're
don't
just
think
like,
I needed to ask you anything actually. It was all a very intelligent conversation.
No.
And but thank you again.
Pleasure.
And good luck for your future projects.
Thank you. Thank you so much.